We still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all
believe. Good evening. Welcome along to NUFC Matters. It is another live Q&A with me, Steve Wraith, and I'll be here for the next hour answering your questions. I can't believe it. I've got another cold. I am literally attracting cold viruses every other week at the minute. It's not good, and although I am of an age where I can get a vaccination, unfortunately I don't tick any of the categories, so I can't go and get a flu jab unless I pay 20 quid for it. But I'm getting the feeling that I've had that many colds and flus this year that I don't really see the point now. I must be immune to them all. Anyway, enough whinging about man flu, man cold, whatever you want to call it, and let's get on with the show tonight. And hey, great result. First of all, Newcastle United in Champions League action last night, and a 3-0 win against Jose Mourinho's Benfica, and what a result it was. Good performance, solid performance, some outstanding performances from lots of people. And I mean, it would be unfair, I guess, to pick out man of the match last night, but Nick Pope had another good game. Bruno Guimaraes was absolutely superb as captain and as midfield dynamo. Lewis Miley was a wonderful replacement for Joe Linton or Tonali. Take your pick. He had a coming-of-age game last night. Anthony Gordon brought his England form to St James's Park, and about time too, with an excellent performance. And Harvey Barnes, proven why he is one of the best impact substitutes that Newcastle United have had in any era that I've supported them since the 1980s, with another wonderful 2 goals. Walter Marder, just gets better and better and better. He literally plays a part, whether he scores a goal or not. He's always got a little part to play, and that wonderful flick last night, which led to the goal, from Barnes, was absolutely brilliant. But yeah, all in all, a great performance. Newcastle United certainly holding their own in the Champions League this time around, and I think this new format suits Newcastle. I really, really do. I think this league format will benefit us greatly. And of course, don't forget, when you get through to the knockout stages, it's 2 legs, home and away. Nobody is going to want to come to St James's Park. Not at all. So from my perspective, very positive, happy at the performance. And of course, what we need is the same again on Saturday. We need the same against Fulham on Saturday, and we need the same again next week against Tottenham in the Carabao Cup. 2 more home wins in the space of the week, and this season suddenly has liftoff, and Newcastle have a lot to look forward to. And for me, it's no surprise. My prediction at the start of the season was 5th place for Newcastle and FA Cup final winners. I'm going to add to that Newcastle will qualify for the later stages of the Champions League. I could see them going as far as the quarterfinals. It depends who they get. But it's not all doom and gloom, which is what it felt like on Sunday and Monday. I've got to be perfectly honest after the defeat against Brighton. And that is it. It's such a fickle game, isn't it? Football, certainly as far as us fans are concerned. And yes, Budapest is the Champions League final destination. What a bit of motivation that would be, really, for Newcastle United to revisit Budapest in the European final. Okay, listen, I've waffled enough. Let's get to your questions. Edward, good evening. Steve, you're putting on a talk in, but it has to be players from under the previous owner. Who do you pick to invite? Well, I saw this early on, so I had a little bit of time to think. You're going to invite Colaccini, aren't you? Colaccini and Jonas, I think, would be a good pairing. I think pairings tend to work best. I've already done one with Ryan Taylor. Ryan Taylor was excellent. Really, really good speaker, Ryan. And, of course, was a club ambassador for a while at SJP. I think you would put the goal scorers together as well. Demba Ba and Papa Cisse. I think those two would be great. Johan Cabaye would be another one as well, I think. Probably another shout. I think he would be pretty good for talk-ins. But yeah, I think that probably answers your question. But yeah, I'd like to see Cabaye and the other side of his story. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've had others, I guess, over that period of time. If you were going to go for northeast players, maybe your Dummets and your Andy Carrolls and Stephen Taylors. You could have a Geordie Boys night. That would probably be quite good. Or the goalkeepers. I did one a few years ago with Pavel, with Tim Krull, of course, and Steve Harper, who would fit that kind of remit. So, yeah. But yeah, Johan Kebab, and I did interview. I did do one with Joe Kinnear a few years ago, which was brilliant. Joe was excellent. I did a managers get together, and he came along. Barry's question, Steve, I'm not saying I agree with this, but there seems to be a lot of talk about Gordon only being interested in the big Champions League games and the England matches, hence his drop in form. Any truth? Well, Barry, I can't answer that question because I can't answer on behalf of Anthony Gordon, but I would hazard a guess that that's absolute rubbish. And that, Anthony Gordon wants to play well in every game. I just think he tries too hard for Newcastle in the Premier League, and I think the pressure has got to certain players because of the positions they play. Up until last night, our 4 wingers, I think the stat was something like 1 goal and no assists. Changed it round last night, didn't it? We had assists and goals, so hopefully that continues. But they are getting used to a new system with a new player in Voldemort. So no, I would disagree with that, Barry, wholeheartedly. And I know that's not you saying it. You're just, you're reading that from others. But I would say that's absolute rubbish. With Sandro Tonali signing a new contract at the club, who else do you expect to follow him? Well, it was an extension, wasn't it? It's the contract was supposed to have run out in 2028, but it didn't. It was 2029, and they've exercised the rights to an extension, which takes it to 2030. So I don't think he signed a new contract as such. It's just a shock revelation that the press were wrong, and this is the actual circumstance we're in. It buys Ross Wilson a bit more time, but you would imagine that there are players at the club at the moment who Newcastle don't want to lose, who Ross Wilson will be negotiating with over the course of the next few months, and just making sure that we don't let a prize asset go this time. In your opinion, why is Eddie keeping Alex Murphy in the squad when it looks like he's got no intention of giving him a chance should he go on loan? I mean, sometimes a player can be doing something on the training ground, and because his position is a one which Eddie feels is not a one where he can come in and make an impact in certain games, he's not going to go. He's not going to risk him, and I agree with that. And I think we all agree that Eddie's the man to be trusted with team selection because he trains the players and sees the players every day. He knows what's best. He knows what's best for the team and the club. He hasn't done badly so far. So at the moment, we probably can't afford to let Alex Murphy go out on loan. But I wouldn't say that we've got anything to worry about at this moment in time. We're still doing very well without our two main fullbacks, i.e. Tino and Lewis Hall. But should the likes of Murphy and Neve go out on loan, I mean, it's not as easy as that, Barry. Sometimes the players want to stay and make a run of it. But I, at the moment, I just genuinely do not think Eddie doesn't trust the kid. I just think the right game hasn't come up. And it'll be when there's an opportunity to blood him that he'll do it. But he's not got many things wrong, Eddie. So I wouldn't say that. I think the fact that Alex Murphy's in the squad is a positive, but he'll pick and choose when the right time is to bring him in and give him his debut, and give him a full debut in a key game. Good evening, Ian. What other podcasts or YouTube football shows do you follow? The only ones I tend to watch are Craig Hope and the Geordie Journos. And I was with Liam last Friday. And I tend to only watch the Geordie Journos or Craig Hope if it's after a press conference or if we've won. It's bad enough doing your own podcast and being depressed after a defeat without getting depressed, listening to other people being depressed. So those are the only two I listen to as far as Newcastle's concerned. I don't subscribe or follow the others. I've got no time to listen to them or watch them and no inclination to watch them. And that's not because of any malice or the fact that I don't like them. It's just I haven't got time to do it. And, I don't... I've got my own opinions, so I don't need to listen to other people's. I do feel that Craig Hope has got more of an in than many others, and I think he does his podcast in a really good way. And obviously, I'm still friends with Liam Kennedy, so I do like to listen to what him and the lads have got to say, and they do a decent podcast. And it's not too long, I guess. We're one of those podcasts which is quite rare. We literally have we literally do an hour and a half or 2 hours with the professionals and the amigos. But yeah, the other ones I don't really particularly listen to. Things like the overlap and high performance. I listen to them if there's something which I want to listen to. But that's they're few and far between. Got to be something that's either Newcastle related or something which I really want to listen to. Like the Jim Ratcliffe interview was very interesting. Quite a few months back, so that was good. But yeah, I'll pick and choose. But I don't have much time to listen to these things, I'm afraid. Ian as well, thank you for donating 5 memberships, much appreciated. I'd like to ask as well, Steve, if I may, what do you think of La Liga striking over being forced to play games in the USA? I don't think that's a bad idea at all, to be perfectly honest. It's ridiculous that they've got to be playing in a different country, or they're trying to get them to play in a different country, and I think everybody should make a stand against that. There's no reason for La Liga to be played in the USA, just as there's no reason for the Premier League to be played in the USA. It's not great. It's not a good idea, and I fully support that. I think that's the right thing to do. Tom, question: with last night's win, do you think we can go on an unbeaten run in the league starting on Saturday? It's a great question, Tom, because obviously the fixtures that we've got coming up now are Fulham at home, Spurs at home, of course, in the Carabao Cup. We've then got West Ham away. We've then got Atletico Bilbao at home in the Champions League. We've then got Brentford away, and then we've got Manchester City at home. All of those fixtures are exciting fixtures, and fixtures which you think, Newcastle playing at their best, scoring goals could get a good haul in those games. I expect us to beat Fulham, although I never expect us to win 3 or 4-0 at this moment in time, despite the fact we did last night. But I think we'll beat Fulham. I think we'll beat Spurs. I think we'll beat West Ham. So there's 3 games there in a row which I think we'll win. Those games will then determine how well we do with Bilbao, injuries, suspensions, etc. You'd love to think we'll have Wissa back for that Bilbao game. Brentford and Man City are the tough ones at the start of November. Brentford have got a good run of form at the moment, and Man City's always a tough game at home, but at least it's at home. So I think, Tom, as far as runs are concerned, I certainly think a mini run is possible. So I think 3 wins in our next 3 games will set us up nicely for that next batch of 3 games, which is Bilbao, Brentford and Man City. So I'm expecting a mini run. Let's see where we're at after that little run of games. But yeah, it's exciting. Exciting times. It really is. Denny, good evening. Love these Q&As. I'm the same with Coles. I sort them every other week and I never usually catch anything. Denny, honestly, it's an absolute nightmare. Like, it really is. And I've had the lot. Aches, pains, blocked nose now. It's just, I had the last one I had, if you remember, the last time we did a live one of these, which was a couple of weeks ago, it was a tickly cough. I can only imagine it's the same thing just hanging on us and it's coming out in its different forms. But not pleasant at all. Really, it really isn't. Especially when you're doing a live talking for an hour. Next question from Barry. How confident are you with recent form for the upcoming derby game? I am always confident going into the derby, and why wouldn't it be? To be honest, I mean, credit to Sunderland. Credit to Sunderland. And it's not very often you would say that, is it? But they have done absolutely brilliantly since they came back into the Premier League. And their mettle is now going to be tested because they have got a big set of fixtures coming up. And you look at it and you think, if Sunderland are going to do what Newcastle did under Keegan and finish in that top 6, then these games will determine whether this is a flash in the pan or whether they've just been lucky with the fixture list. Chelsea away is their next fixture this weekend. Then they've got Everton at home, Arsenal away, Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Liverpool away, Manchester City away. Then they've got us. Then they've got Brighton. That is a hard run by anybody's standards. So I genuinely think that by the time we come to December, Newcastle United will be above them and it will look a lot different. I can't see Sunderland finishing above Newcastle this season, but credit to them, they've done very, very well at this moment in time. Benny, you're right. Sunderland doing well right now. Remember when Hull City were in the Premier League? Exactly. These things can happen. But ultimately, from my perspective, I don't think Newcastle are worried about Sunderland in the slightest, and I don't think it puts any extra pressure on. That's why I asked the question to the lads this week, does it put pressure on? But I don't think it does, because we're above Sunderland in every shape and form at the moment. They've got a lot of catching up to do with us. But that doesn't mean that they haven't had a good start of the season. They have, and they should be given credit for that. But by the end of the season, or by December, I think Sunderland will be below Newcastle. And yeah, the league table will look a lot different then. And I'm very confident about the derby. Dave, good evening. Do you think we should start a petition to have goal throws instead of goal kicks? I wonder why you're saying that, Dave. There's a kid who sits next to me called Dave, and he hates Nick Pope. And he spent last night complaining about Nick Pope and his kicking and wasn't happy with it. And criticised him, of course, when he kicked that ball out for a corner. But his kicking wasn't very good last night. But he's shot stopping, he saves, and the fact that he managed to get an assist. I mean, it was superb, wasn't it? Absolutely superb. Really, really good. It was really good to see. 65-yard unorthodox assist is what it was called. But yeah, I wouldn't start a petition to have goal throws instead of goal kicks. But it was a remarkable throw, and it was with his bad arm, I think. But you know what? It was great to see. Great to see the players running up to him, celebrating with him, congratulating him. I've watched it back this afternoon, and listened to the other players wax lyrical about him. Of course, he's now been added to the players committee, which is an honour because that's, you're voted onto that committee by your peers. So all in all, not a bad week so far for Nick Pope. And Anthony Gordon paid tribute to him after the game as well. So clearly very well liked in the dressing room. I said this all the way along as well, because Ramsdale is a lone player. He is literally going to be there as cover for Nick Pope. I fully expect him to start Ramsdale in the Carabao Cup against Spurs next week. But you know what? Nick Pope's not the worst keeper we've had. Not the best keeper for me, but he's not the worst. And, the main thing is he gets on very well with the players in the dressing room. John says it's now basically a top three competing for the title. Are we the ones likeliest in a year or two to add to the number? Are we? Is there only a top three, John? Why do you say that? Because Arsenal are on 19 points, Man City are on 16, Bournemouth are on 15, Liverpool are on 15. Then you've got Chelsea, Spurs, Sunderland, all on 14, all within 5 points of Arsenal. Newcastle, who are in 14th, are 10 points behind at this moment in time. That's not something which can ever be called an uncatchable total. Newcastle were actually 13 points clear, not 12, 13 in that infamous season. So a bad run of form for a team and a good run for Newcastle can lead to Newcastle, getting to the top of the league. It's all I'm saying is there's not just three teams, John. And Newcastle can still go for the title. It's highly unlikely this season, but they could still go for the title this season if Lady Luck shone down on us. I really do think that, Good one, Rob. Nick Pope's got more assists than Isaac, which is a nice stat. And Dave, it was very Nick Pope that the next kick you done went right out for a throw, but you can't win them all. Very good, mate. Yeah, very true. Miley reminded us all about his ability yesterday, a manly performance, no longer a kid. I think that's what I said at the top of the show. He really, really came of age yesterday. And that was a positive, wasn't it, Stephen? A real positive to see him flourish in that midfield position. I like Miley. And maybe the one person, I know we all talk about the loss of Elliot Anderson, but the one person to benefit from Elliot Anderson's transfer is Lewis Miley, because, that competition for that youngster to play in the midfield positions is now down to Miley. But he didn't look out at players, and he's only a kid. So, yeah, I think that was great last night. Really, really positive. Steve, do you think we'll try and bring Elliot Anderson home anytime soon? Just hoping he doesn't sign for Man U. No, Barry, I don't. I think we'll sign Elliot Anderson. All of that media speculation and Eddie getting asked the question, and why on earth would we go back in for Elliot Anderson? He's not going to get a game at this moment in time. And why would he give up playing full time for a football club, and which has helped him break into England, to come back and sit on the bench? He's not going to do it. And I still don't think that he would be a first team regular. So I'd say no. And the fact that Miley is now starting to realise, the talent, hopefully his growing has stopped. He's just got to, he's just developing his football skills now. Hopefully he he will mean that we don't miss Elliot Anderson. That's what I would say. Not to be too harsh on Miley, but for balance, remember Benfica had 2 in midfield, not 3 like us. Voldemort had 3 defenders to occupy. Only Young though. Yeah, every game's different though. Every game's different, Benny. So I think we need to praise Lewis Miley for last night's performance. I think that Bruno helped him massively, but he just didn't look out of place. He did the simple things well, and that goal that he created against Brighton, was another bright spot in the game. So he is coming of age. We seem to have a bit of depth now, given options for Eddie to rotate. We haven't seen Wissa yet, but is it time to get going? But it's time to get going in the league. Any thoughts? Yeah, John, it is time to get going in the league because, that's your bread and butter. And Newcastle will want to finish as high up in the Premier League as possible and get into Europe. I mean, listening to Harvey Barnes being interviewed after the match last night, he said missing out on Europe last year was very disappointing. And from our perspective, we want to be in Europe every year. So that is the focus. Newcastle have to be performing on all fronts: Premier League, Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. So yeah, it is time to get going in the league, starting with Fulham at the weekend. Fulham will be a harder game than Benfica. Do you agree, Steve? Even Jose said the standards in the Premier are much higher than this side can offer. Yep, it will be. I feel as well we've got this kind of mental block with teams like Fulham, Bournemouth, Brighton, and that needs to change. It will be interesting to see what Eddie does this weekend with regards to his team formation. I hope Eddie learned from the Brighton game that he has to be braver and he has to start relying more on the likes of Miley and that who haven't been out on international duty, because these players can do the job. And if somebody has travelled 30,000 miles for 2 internationals, he's not going to be fit to play, no matter how much he says he is. So don't play him. You can rely on Jacob Ramsey to fill in now. You can rely on Lewis Miley to fill in. And, those players are more than capable of doing the job. So, yeah, I think Eddie needs to take a little bit of, responsibility for that decision or those decisions he made at the weekend. And I hopefully he learns from them. But I genuinely think that this weekend we will get a win, and that will set us up nicely for the Spurs game. We seem to be playing a load of games at the minute, and they're all important. How good is that? When was the last time it was like this? Well, it was like this 2 years ago. Unfortunately, we didn't have the same squad as we have now. We didn't have as good a squad, and we got hit with a load of injuries. But that's how good it was then, playing PSG and the like. Carabao Cup, etc. We've had this over the last couple of years, and it's been great. So all games are important. The Premier League is getting harder and harder as well. It's not an easy league to play in. So when you feel as if your form has dipped, like we all did after the Brighton game, and the fact that we haven't scored hatfuls of goals like we did with Isak, we've all been a bit down. But now we're in this position where every game's exciting again, and like I say, a win against Fulham at the weekend sets us up lovely for the Spurs game and the Carabao Cup. So all games are important. It is great. And it was a couple of seasons ago when it was like that as well. Benny says, Eddie now at least knows the pecking order of the wingers we've got. Alanga number 4, Barnes number 3, but on for whoever the first 2 are preferable to come off after an hour. And of course, Benny, he won't do that. He won't do that at all. He'll pick horses for courses, and don't write Alanga off too quickly. It's quite clear that he's settled in with the lads, but he just needs that time. He just needs to settle in, like Eddie says. Some need more time than others. Okay, I'm going to have a quick break. Here's the ads. Back after this. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them at www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk, email info@mrvickies.co.uk, or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com, email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com, telephone 01670 632 460 or 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you like listening to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network or to iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to support the show, then hit the subscribe button. It's free. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the little thumb up under the video, which is the like button, or click share to share to your social media. You can also join the channel on YouTube by hitting the join button for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become an NUFC Matters member, you can go to nufcmatters.co.uk. It's a £25 one-off fee. You get your pen, you get your badge, a key ring, you get your beer mat and your fridge magnet and your membership card, nufcmatters.co.uk for that. And we have an event early next year, 13th of February 2026, an evening with Beardsley, Waddle and Gascoigne takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. To buy your tickets for that event, go to the box office 0191 243 1171 or Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk.
And it's exactly a month until the Christmas do. An evening with Warren Barton, Joe Allen, Adam Henderson, Sid Stobart, all together under one roof. £12 a ticket. All proceeds going to Age UK North Tyneside Dementia Branch. So get yourselves along. Tickets available on nufcmatters.co.uk. The tickets for Supermac and Gibbo next year are on voucher now, so don't miss out on that. You can get yourself a cracking deal. Those £30 tickets are up for £19 on there, so get yourself onto voucher and order today. And the Peter Beardsley ones will be going on to voucher next week, so keep an eye out for that. I'll stick the link in the chat. Thanks to everybody who took part in the Age UK auction as well, which we put up last week. Not sure exactly how much we've raised yet. Lots of fees to come off with Jumble Bee and with the package and postage, of course, which costs money. We'll need to sort it all out, but I'd imagine in the region of 110 quid has been raised for Age UK off the back of that. So thank you to everybody who joined in. And this book, The Promoter and the Photographer, all proceeds going to Age UK, will be available this Friday, I think. So if you have already bought it, we should be receiving it on Friday. I'll probably get time to post that out sometime next week. So get yourselves onto the website, nufcmatters.co.uk, and please buy a copy. It's only a tenner plus a couple of quid postage, but it is a really good book. Had a lot of fun writing that. Ian says, what's your favourite Gregged? I think you mean Greg's. It used to be the ham and peas pudding stotty, mate, and they took it off, which was very disappointing. I do like a sausage roll. You haven't asked me this before, Ian. Definitely haven't. I do like a sausage roll, although I think they have changed the recipe over recent years and it's not the same. I do not like the vegan sausage roll. I love the Christmas slice, which it won't be long before that's coming out. I always like going a little bit of a anti-cake and anti-chocolate run up until Christmas, so I can get plenty of those Christmas slices in. But they are lovely when they come out. Sandwich wise, I like a ham and cheese baguette. I dip the bacon sandwich. You can't have gone wrong with a bacon sandwich from Greg's and a regular white coffee. But yeah, for me, Greg's great. Definitely got the app. It's very important getting the app. They do give you a little birthday cake once a year, and obviously you get a freebie depending on how often you go in. Pizza slices. If you've been out in a bevy and you don't want a full pizza, pizza slice is all right from there.
I'm a good ambassador for me, for Greg's. Chicken bacon, yeah, but again, I don't think they're the same anymore. But they need to bring back the ham and peas pudding stoddy, definitely. Steve, you're doing an amazing job keeping the channel together. Is anything new in the pipeline you're working on? If you're talking about the channel, Barry, no, I'm happy with it at the moment. I'll probably do a members only chat in the next month or two. Just have a chat with the members who often chuck in a few ideas, but at the moment, no, I'm happy with it. The various programs have all got their own little following. Some of you's watched a lot. Other people tune into some and don't tune into others. The fans forums blossomed, I think. We've had people come and go. Tom's having a bit of time off from the USA at the moment. But other than that, we've got a fairly settled squad. Al Waleed's joined again, which is great. But we have people dip in and out of that, which is fine. You got a few regulars. I think the Ask George, Ask Steve Hasty, Ask Mitch, Ask Penman things, which will be throughout the year, and of course my live Q&As have been a bit different. Gives you a bit more of time to listen to one person or another. Superman and Gibbo, great to have them both back together. I think lots of people love that. I know a lot of the older crowd love to hear those two back together, and it's nice because I don't have much to say. Talk of the Tunes established its own little following. It's it's an acquired taste if you don't like the music side of it, so you're probably only going to tune in for the football bit and then dip out. But that's really good. I enjoy doing that, and of course the professionals and the amigos are great. And I definitely think as well, Three's a Crowd's really taken off, and I know not everybody watches that. Not many watch it from this channel, but we have, probably collectively across social media and across all three fans' channels, probably have about 300 people watching it. So it just proves that Northeast football fans can all chat and talk to each other, which without losing their rag, So very good. But yeah, no new plans at the moment. Nobody will want to get Newcastle in the knockout stage, especially with Hall, Tino and Wissa fit. That's some squad. You're right, Kenny. Big question now is that does Eddie bring Joe Linton and Sandro straight back into the 11 for Fulham? Yeah, I think Tonali back in. I wouldn't be surprised to see Joe Linton back in as well, but I think Lewis would feel a little bit aggrieved. It'd be interesting to see what he does. He's got to get it right, and he's got to pick them on who's the fittest, who is fit, and who is capable. And it is horses for courses. So yeah, let's hope he loosens it a little bit and a little bit more trust in Miley now. But my mind hasn't changed on Harvey Barnes. He's still an impact sub, definitely an impact sub. Ham and cheese baguette for Mick. Three's a Crowd's hilarious, says Les, and love Three's a Crowd. The banter's superb. Cheers, Barry. Is Ashworth the one that got away? Shrewd move with Tonali extension before he left. He didn't want to be here, did he? So he's not the one who got away. He's the one who ran away. I don't genuinely believe that he was the right fit for the club, sadly, because what he felt he was getting and what Newcastle were actually offering was two completely different things, and just wasn't right, was it? So I don't think he was the one that got away. The Man United departure surprised me more than the Newcastle one. I've got to be perfectly honest. Alan says, watch out for this lad in the window. Rumours are our owners are extremely interested. He plays for Vasco da Gama and he's built like Joe Linton. He's a powerhouse. Rayan Vitor Simplicio Rocha. Thank you, Alan. Steve, do you want Liverpool to lose tonight? Wolf, I'm not bothered, mate. It's funny, isn't it? It is funny. Watching Liverpool and Isak struggle at the minute, but they are too good for that to happen on a regular basis. I'd much rather the lost against Brentford at the weekend than lost tonight, if I'm perfectly honest. But it's not going to last forever. But at the moment, Salah's playing with a face like a slapped backside, and if you look in his eyes, he almost looks as if he's saying, "I told you so." And I think that's hilarious because his little Twitter spat, which I highlighted on here a few weeks ago, where he was saying, you should really be paying respect to those players who won you the title last year. It was a fan had posted something and added Isak and Fritz, Isak and which other player was it? He added two players anyway, and he put them on with Salah and with a couple of the lads who won the title last season, and Salah responded. He wasn't very happy. He wasn't very happy about it at all. Words, that's it, Benny. He wasn't happy at all, and he basically just hammered the person really, and I just thought, wow. And since that moment, I've watched him and just thought, oh, he's just not happy. He's not happy. He's not the main man anymore. And I think that's half the problem. AJ, good evening. Hope you and your family are well. Hi, Steve. In the Premier League, we've played 8 games up to now, conceded 4 goals in the last 10 minutes of games. You're concerned by that stat? Over a course of a season, if it's the same kind of problem, I will be. That's something Eddie needs to look at. I don't think it's a fitness thing. I just think it's the way the games have gone. And I think we've just been unlucky. They've all come at the same time. I mean, even against Brighton, you looked and you thought, we're the team that's pushing on to win this game, and we got caught with a sucker punch. It was misfortune. Byrne timed his tackle brilliantly, but the ricochet fell to the man who was always going to score against us at the weekend. So I'm not concerned about it at the minute, but let's see how it goes in the next 8 games. And if we're still doing it in an 8 games time, the answer is yes. What's your thoughts on the right wing position? Surely last night showed Eddie Murphy has to start over Langer. I'm not playing Eddie Murphy, Kurt. That's the way it looks on the screen. I mean, Murphy at the moment is still, for me, the first choice, and Alanga could be brought in as an impact sub, a bit like Harvey Barnes. But eventually, you would imagine Alanga is going to take over from that position. But I think Murphy starts, Kurt. But the problem with Murphy is at the moment he is carrying a strain at this moment in time. And that's why he hasn't been 100%, and that's probably why he hasn't started. But yeah, at the moment, Kurt, I agree with you. It's Gordon on the left, Murphy on the right for me as your first two, as you're starting to, 100%. And Alanga to come on as an impact sub and work his way into the team. Do you think when Wissa returns, there'll be a change in formation to fit Big Nick and Wissa in the same lineup? Well, this isn't like Isak and Wilson, not at all, because he can play anywhere in that front. You know, he could play 9, he could play 10, he could play deeper, play just sitting in front of the back, sitting in front of the midfield. Play as a false 9. Voldemort could play with Wissa, but I would imagine that Eddie won't change his formation. He'll stick with. I genuinely think he'll stick with his formation and he'll play one or the other. But I think there will be times where they will be on the pitch at the same time, like we've seen with Asula and Voldemort this year. But you can't rule Asula out either. I think Asula will still see. I still think we will still see a bit of Asula even when Wissa's available. Who's your favourite sport personality outside of football? Mike Tyson, of course. Rob. You know, he was always my boxing hero, just the way that he came up through the ranks. You know, I've met them all. As you know, Rob, I've met all of these boxing legends over the years, as you find out in that promoter and photographer book. But I genuinely, you know, Tyson was just superb to meet. Other sporting personalities, got a lot of respect for those players who went on, like Eric Bristow in darts. He was superb, Robin. I know that's one of your favourite sports. And I've met Bristow and I worked with Bristow before he passed away. I guess snooker wise, Steve Davis and Alex Hurricane Higgins, probably another two who spring to mind. Never met either of them, but those are two sporting personalities outside of football who got a lot of time for and a lot of respect. Nigel Mansell, if you want to go down the Formula One route, and I'm not a Formula One fan. Ian Botham in the cricket world. I'm old enough to remember Botham's Ashes, which was a fascinating thing to watch. So yeah, I hope that gives you a decent answer. Alanga will come good, Blue Rhythm Boy, 100%. Jules just having a say on the league games being played outside of the own league country. Is the authorities think we're stupid telling us it's to grow a game when it's all about the money? Don't insult us. Very, very true. Yes, Bruce out. God, that was good old days, Jules. Good old days. At the weekend, would you start Harvey Barnes after last night? No, he's an impact sub, Tom. I'd never start him. I would never start him. I would always have him on the bench coming on. And he's had his chance to come on and start on regular occasions. And I just don't think we get the best out of him. I think we get the best out of him when he comes on like that. Of course, if there's injuries and suspensions and there's nobody to come on, if he's your first choice, then he has to start. But like last year, but I just think he does respond better when he's got 30 minutes to come on and prove himself. Are you worried about the frequency of Joe Linton's injuries and is Ramsey stepping up? I think Ramsey is and will step up. I think he's a different player to Joe Linton. But I think that's where last night worked with Miley and Ramsey. I think Miley can do that dirty work. Miley reminds me so much of Sean Longstaff. And I do genuinely think that he's got what it takes maybe to go on and do stuff. So I am worried about the frequency of Joe Linton's injuries, but the way that he puts his body on the line, it's no surprise. He's not getting any younger. And, all careers come to an end at some point. But there's still life in the old dog yet. I think Joe Linton will still be a player for Newcastle for the next couple of years and still has a bit to prove. And I still think he'll have another winner's medal or two round his neck. Did we see the future in our attacking ability last night with Voltemada bringing the wingers into dangerous spaces? Yeah, I mean, look, Voltemada is a completely different player to anybody that we've had in recent years. A lot of people compare him to Peter Crouch, and I wouldn't say that's a bad comparison at all. He's got great feet. His weakness is in the air, but he's already managed to put the ball in the back of the net very calmly with his head. He's a good penalty taker, and he's got good feet, and he's got a good finish on him. So I think that Voltemada is going to be a big player for Newcastle moving forward. And like I said, we could see Voltemada playing on his own, or we could see him as part of a front two, or even a front three. But there's a lot more to come from Voltemada, and already what I've seen has impressed me. Stephen Kennedy says, I asked you a week ago if you remember a TV show called Mad Dogs. I was told the 14 episodes are on Sky. I watched them all now. How trippy did it get? Did you see them all? Thanks, lads, who told me. Mad Dogs, I still haven't seen it, mate. I have heard of the show. And I think that's a crime thing, isn't it? So I haven't watched it, and I've got a vague recollection of it. So I haven't watched it yet. But Stephen, let us know what channel it's on. And if I ever get a chance to sit down and watch any TV, then I'll make sure I give that a watch. I think it was BBC. You thoughts on the Potter? Once Graham Jones is his assistant over in Sweden, well, he can want all he wants, but I don't think Potter will leave. I think that Potter's committed to Newcastle, and he'll want to stay at Newcastle. So Graham Jones will want to stay at Newcastle and won't want to join Potter. Especially with Potter's track record at the minute, could be a short-lived job. But I mean, Graham's got experience with England, of course. But no, I think he's loyal to Eddie, and he'll want to stay. He'll want to stay here. Is Murphy our most underrated player, Steve? No, he's not our most underrated player. I don't think so. Who would you say is underrated? It's a difficult one, that, because Murphy's established now. He established himself. He was underrated maybe a while back, but I don't think he's underrated. I think the last underrated player we had was Longstaff. I mean, he was a Boo Boy's favourite, but he was underrated. People didn't realise what he did until he was gone. Miley's now stepping into that kind of breach. I think a lot of fans are building Wizard to be the a lot of fans are building Wizard to be the end of our striker problem, but I don't think he will be. He's okay, but not what we need long term. Well, he's an older player, isn't he? But he'll do all right, Chantal. He'll do all right when he comes in. Big Nick's a tall Berbatov Bergkamp clone. Blame the man flu, Steve. Wasn't it, Brain? See, I'm glad you remember, Jules. I am ill, and it is worse than you know, Jules, as Ian says. Steve, you've done some acting. What's your favourite film of all time and why? My favourite film is Jaws, and I've watched that so many times. The Shining with Jack Nicholson is another one of my favourites, and Scorsese's Goodfellas. That's probably me top three in no particular order. I do like the old gangster films though. Once Upon a Time in America, Villain with Richard Burton. I love the musical Bugsy Malone. I love the Oliver musical as well. Really, really good. But yeah, the top film of all time for me is Jaws. Really is still one of the best. And as I say, it's one of them. If it's on, I'll watch it time and time again. Fantastic. I know John Askew did send me a few questions as well, so I'll try and get through one or two of those. Let's have a look, John, and see what you sent us this afternoon. Don't forget, if you want to send emails, it's nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. There's a rumour that Semenyo's got a release clause. If we got him, we could aim for the stars. It may not be impossible. Just meet the clause with a couple of days to go of the window to stop the inevitable thwarting tactics of the six, and would have a squad just about ready to compete too for honours. I would really push the boat out on this one. What do you think? Yeah, I would like Semenyo at Newcastle. I think he'd be fantastic. I genuinely think that as well, Newcastle could afford him in this next window. So yeah, I think it's a great shout. Really think it's a great shout. I'd love it. Robert Shaw and George are superb. Yeah, I went to see the play, Anthony, this year. The Shark is Broken at the Theatre Royal, and I met Robert Shaw's son. Lovely, lovely guy. And it's a play. If you ever get a chance to see it, go and see it. I think it's in America now. The View is showing King's Horror soon, Steve, Shining in December. Oh, thank you, mate. I'm going to go and see the Springsteen film next week. I'm taking my dad to see that. Is there a part you would love to play Stephen Filmer on stage? I've played Oliver and I've played Monks. In Oliver, I played the Artful Dodger, and I played Monks, his brother, in an adapted version of Oliver. I'd love to play Bill Sykes, and I think I'm at that age now. So my agent has the remit. When they see a Bill Sykes being advertised in a decent production, I'd like to go and put myself forward for it. So yeah, Bill Sykes, Barry, and of course the villain in Coronation Street. Graham Jones would be mad to leave. Well-paid role, no outside pressure, stability at the club, local man. Does like the spotlight though. Remember when he was brought in to work with Bruce? Yeah, I'm glad he took the spotlight when he was working with Bruce though. My sister was terrified of George to the point where she'd hide behind the settee. Lots of people did. The John Candy documentary on Amazon is a great watch. He was in some great films. I don't have Amazon, but yeah, I've been told about that. So I'm sure I will get to watch it at some point. The release clause is 78 million for Semenyo. Is it really? It's not bad, is it? John Askew, another question. It's good of Gordon to thrive for his country and for us in the Champions League, but I think the key to our league season might be our games away from home to teams in mid-table or near the bottom. We could do with scraping a few one-goal wins, to be honest, but are you confident young Anthony will turn it on in those games? I think he will, mate, yeah. I think he will. I think he's just tried too hard. That's the point I made at the start. I think he's tried too hard. Should Nick Pope just stick to long throats instead of kicking? I know Dave mentioned that earlier, John, as well. Alan says he'd love to play the window cleaner in Confessions of a Window Cleaner. Is Mozza out, Alan? I hope Mozza doesn't read that one. Do you think it's a bit of an anomaly when you can win much gold for performing well in the Champions League, but the EPL seems in a way to be significantly more competitive? I hope the question makes sense. Where you can win much gold for performing well in the Champions League, John. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'll change your question because I don't understand it, and I just find it a bit strange. The rules are so different. So, for instance, Anthony Gordon was down injured last night. Other players went down injured, and they just continue. They don't have to go off for 30 seconds and then come back on. And the substitutes weren't added on as part of the extra time, so it was only 2 minutes added time at the end of the game. So I just found that all strange. The difference between the Champions League and the Premier League is really, really strange. Steve, would you love to see you play No Hank in the remake of Barry Shaw, the gay Chechen gangster? Never seen it, Stephen. Never seen it. If the pay's good, mate, I'm up for it. Do you think it's important we don't over-egg last night? Says John. Great to win with another clean sheet, but Benfica weren't particularly good, or is that too negative? No, I just think we need to make sure that we aren't getting too carried away when we get beat, and we're not getting too carried away when we win. And I think that way you'll all find your mental health a bit better, because we do have this tendency to go off on one if we get beat. You just need to watch the fans forum on a Monday to see the cross section of fans and how it works. But I just think, we just need to keep level and trust Eddie, and Eddie we trust. Omar was distracted, and Alan's way into the kitchen to avoid getting wrong. Benny says Craig made a good point. Brighton a better side than Benfica, so or Bournemouth. Yeah, but football's not like that. It changes week to week. It really does change week to week. And Newcastle played Aston Villa at the start of the season. Sunderland played them. Both got decent results against them, home and away. And they're a different team now. So when you play Aston Villa next, then there's no guarantees it's going to be the same Aston Villa squad or team. So things change in football, change every week. But yeah, that's the nature of the beast, and it's how your luck goes as well as how you prepare in a season. It really is. But I've got through all the questions. That is the end of the hour. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Back tomorrow, but at the earlier time, everybody, of 11 a.m. Supermac, Gibbo, and me live. And then Friday night, it'll be the Three Amigos at the normal time of 5 o'clock. And at the weekend, Saturday morning, 9:30 in the morning, will be the professionals. And on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, it'll be Three's a Crowd. Thanks to all the moderators. Thanks to everybody for joining us. I'm off to get Lemsip. Take care.